When it comes to LinkedIn, you want to also check your privacy settings and make sure you're comfortable with what's being shared out there. So to do that, you go to the Me option, you go to Settings and Privacy, and it immediately goes to the Privacy tab. First option you see is Edit Your Public Profile, so we'll just go there, and this is what is indexed by Google, what shows up outside of LinkedIn, and also in different aspects of LinkedIn. So on the left, you get a preview of what's indexed by Google, and on the right, we've got the controls. So in here, we've got the visibility. You can turn it off completely or on. Who can see your profile photo? Public is indexed by Google. Then you've got all LinkedIn members, your network, which is up to 3 degrees deep, and only first level connections. If you have the first level connection, it means that people who aren't connected to you can't see your photo. If you're concerned about privacy, that might be something you want to do. But if you want to be recognized by people in business, then you want to have one of the other options. I'm quite comfortable with my photo being out there. It's everywhere over the web. So being public is indexed by Google, which actually adds to my personal footprint. But if you've got privacy concerns, work out which is the right for you. And then you can go through your profile and turn on and off different aspects for people who are not connected to you, so that when they find you outside of LinkedIn, this is what they see. So you can see I've turned off some of my information, some's for privacy, some of it's also just so it's not too long because it is quite an extensive profile. So that's the public profile area. You can decide who can see your email address who can see your connections. So mine is set to first degree connections. That's actually the default setting, but you may choose to make it only visible to you if you don't want anybody to see your email address in the contact area. You can go beyond and have people you have in common, which is the second degree connections, or you can say anybody on LinkedIn can email you. You can also tick if you would like it to be able to be downloaded. So when people back up their profile, your email address can be backed up with it. It's off by default. I don't see any point turning it on personally, but you might have a reason to. But just know that these options are there. Who can see your connections? So you can, by default, it is set to your connections. So when you connect to someone, you can see who they're connected to. But it comes down to your connection strategy. If you connect to every man and his dog, then you can't really vouch for your network. It's a weak network in that sense. So you might not want to let people know who you're connected to unless you're all for networking, then go for it. I choose only me not because I connect to everybody's dog, I certainly don't, but I do connect to people I don't know that well. And I don't want to put my network at risk in terms of if I let someone in and they're a bit of a spammer and they want to use my network to connect people, that I don't want to. I just don't want that there. So I've got my connections only, which means you only see the people we have in common because you already know them. So that's a personal choice. You can decide if people can see your last name. Now, if you're in business, people, you want to be recognized, but for some reason you might not want them to see your name. Personal choice once again. Now, if we go down here as well, there's different things that you can see. That profile viewing options is a common setting I show people. When you look at someone's profile, they see who you are, they see your name, your photo, and your headline. If you don't want them to see this information, you can go into a private anonymous mode and then allows you to look at their profiles without leaving a footprint behind. I don't recommend leaving it off because if you've got the free account, you then can't see who's looking at you. But also, it means you're not building a relationship. And when you look at someone's profile, you're actually showing interest in them. You're showing you've done your homework. You're showing, you're preparing for a meeting or something like that. So it's a good practice to leave it on unless you're in research mode. Then there's all sorts of other information in here. So let's go into manage active status. So on your profile, there's a little green dot that tells people if you're active or not, which means, they might want to message you. So you can have just for your connections, all LinkedIn members, or no one can see it. So it's up to you as to, who you're comfortable with seeing that. So if you want it to be just people you're connected to, you can see there it instantly saves. Mentions and tags by others. So people can mention you and tag, which isn't like @mention, and to tag you, and they can also tag in photos. So if you're getting a lot of people doing it, particularly spammy behavior, there's a thing called pods where And if you're in a pod, you might find people tag you, and maybe you've left the pod and you don't want to be involved anymore. Or maybe you've just got people who are just very spammy in their behavior and tag you in things that don't relate to you. So you can turn the ability off if you don't want that to happen across the board. Now, one thing I recommend, generally about every quarter, I recommend backing up your data. So in this, how LinkedIn uses your data, you can go to here and get a copy of your data. You can choose the whole entire profile, or you can just choose bits and pieces. Like if you want to back up your list of connections, you would click here, click on connections, and then request the archive. It doesn't include email addresses, as we've mentioned before, unless people have actually turned it on. So you just get a list. So it's good practice to back up your profile to protect your network, particularly as you build your network on LinkedIn. It's, if you're not driving them anywhere else, which often we don't, and we can't control that, it's good just to have that list. But also the information in your profile that you've taken time to build. So you can download, your entire profile, so that, that online presence. You can download the articles you've written, recommendations people have given you. But if you go for the whole lot, you get everything, and they're in CSV format. So you click request, you get an email, you have to then click on it and come back and complete the download process. Then you can decide who can discover you by your email address and phone number. So that's something you've got control over. Syncing with contacts and calendar as well. Search history, do you want that available or not? And then there's some job seeking options as well. And down the very bottom, we've got management of people. So people look at who your followers are, who's blocking you. Who you're blocking, not you can't see who's blocking you. Because if you block someone, if they've been offensive, been spammy, whatever, you can go in there and unblock them if you change your mind, or the problem's fixed. And if you've unfollowed people, you click here and you can then refollow them again here. You can manage your list here. I'm not going to go into them because I'm not going to show you what I'm doing, because I often unfollow people that I'm connected to if I'm trying to keep my home feed quite strategic. So I might unfollow people that have content I don't want in my home feed. Beauty of unfollowing those, you can always go to their profile and see their content if you do want to see what they're doing. So it's not a permanent thing. So that's a privacy area. Make sure you get comfortable with your area and have a look at what needs fixing, what needs updating, and don't be afraid of it. Thanks for watching.